We have Christina Martin, the founder and CEO of My E-Customs, who have the company has brought some blockchain solutions for logistic documentation and processes, and she will be presenting those procedures, or what they have been doing with, or what they have been developing on the technology, what infrastructure they are using, which standards they are maybe referring to. Thank you, Menekşe, for starting to recording also. I've just forgotten. And now we have a very good audience here, Christina, a little but a very good audience who are already somehow very interested in blockchain projects, enthusiasts, or already participating in some projects. And I'm sure they're going to have some questions after your presentation. And everybody, please let us make this meeting as interactive as possible. So do you mind if they just interrupt and ask questions, or just keep the questions after the session for a Q&A session?
No, I think it's a good idea to do it as interactive as possible, and make questions in any time. I do not know if I will see the questions, so if I'm presenting, I cannot see if there is something with the hand up. So if you can tell me,
sure.
directly, perfect.
Sure, we will assist you, no worries. And so maybe I think it's we are done, and we can start with the presentation. We're also recording, and we are going to publish it on our YouTube channel later on. So maybe we can start, and then we will let the latecomers also inside as they come.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. By the way, would you like to introduce a little bit Blockchain Women, Ebru, or just maybe we have some new attendees that don't know already us?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. There are some names which I've been seeing for the first time. You're right, Menekşe. Istanbul Blockchain Women is an association which have been recently formed, but it's actually more than 2 years a networking platform for women to motivate and promote women to participate more in the blockchain ecosystem and blockchain industry, and also the cryptocurrency ecosystems. What we do is we are organizing events based on blockchain use cases, or online webinars about the projects which have been which are already being developed in Turkey, or very recently again we have started our live interview talks with some very well-known figures on global blockchain ecosystems like Meltem Demiröz, Mustafa Yilham from Bishin, and also very lately we have Professor Philip Sadner from Frankfurt Business School, and in one of our live sessions. And so we are admitting members, and we have our doors open not only for women, but also for everybody from the communities, from society. So we want to welcome everyone who wants to come and be a part of this our community and association. So I think that's all right for now. You can also have more information from our website and from our social media accounts. You can just follow us for our events and other news and the latest developments on our parts. So we have Christina right now, and I leave the floor for Christina to make her presentation.
Thank you very much to Blockchain Women Istanbul for this opportunity to explain our project, E-Customs. And my name is Cristina, and Ebru has told. I will share the presentation that I'm going now to share by email, just in everybody to know. So I'm start sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see.
Yes, we do see.
Yes, I will put in full screen.
Okay, perfect.
So thank you very much, first of all, for this opportunity. As I have prepared a brief agenda in order to follow some steps. First of all, I will explain about our team, a little bit the supply chain process and the pains we are trying to solve with our solution. And why we use blockchain, that is a good question, and why and where we use it. And then I think that the better way to understand how the platform works is by seeing an example. No? So I will show you two real cases, one sea shipment and one air shipment, in order to explain with a real case the use of e-customs. So we are a 9 people team today. We are 3 co-founders. One is myself. I'm going to present a little bit more. I'm chemical engineer. My specialty is nuclear reactors. At the first stage, nothing regarding with logistics. My family has a company, a freight forwarder, and I have seen all the pains that the supply chain has during all my life. No? So 15 years ago, I decided to build my own company, my own freight forwarder. And I have been CEO for this freight forwarding during 15 years. And after that, I made a master, and I start hearing about new technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence. And when you have a company, it's impossible not to think how these technologies can help you into the pains you have daily. No? So I met also my 2 co-founders, that are Marcos and Manuel. Marcos is our CTO. He's a serial entrepreneur. He has been also co-founder of Fintonic. That is one of the most successful startups in Spain for fintech. And he has been building software for banks for more than 20 years. And Manuel is our CCO, and he has been innovation director in Indra, that is a consultancy for aerospatial and defense for more than 15 years. He's physics, and he's a specialist in artificial intelligence. So the 3 decided to build blockchain custom technology and to build e-customs as a solution. Also, we have, during last year, made an advisory board with some of the stakeholders of the platforms, importers and exporters, freight forwarders. We have, for example, Decathlon as a big importer, or Enric Picó, that is the president for the Freight Forwarder Association in Spain. And other guys like Roberto Vázquez Lucerga, that is a specialist also in artificial intelligence. So this is the team and our advisory board. And what I'm going to do now is to explain somehow the pains that the supply chain has. The supply chain moves the world. Last year, more than 10 trillion of euros were moved through the supply chain. But it's a very, very fragmented processes. All start when a buyer and a seller make an agreement to purchase some goods. Then they have to decide how to pay those goods, no? And this could be as easy as to make a transfer, or much more complicated if they decided to involve the buyer and the seller bank and make, for example, a credit letter. It is a study that the 20% of the logistic cost is due to these fragmented processes and this paper-based process. And this is something very, very inefficient. No? And then they have to decide how to move those goods. And this could be also as easy as to make a simply transport by road with a delivery node, or much more complicated if we involve different transport modes, different authorities in different countries, different add value services, like for example, insurance, IoT, and different stakeholders, like for example, the freight forwarder, who is the one who collect and handle all the data, not only for the exporter side, but also for the buyer side, in order to finally make the movement of goods possible. This process and these stakeholders are not connected by each other. So the recollection of this data is done manually in paper-based and several times during the shipment. So this is a pain that we have in the supply chain. And that's why we decided to build eCustoms. eCustoms is a cloud platform that synchronizes all the stakeholders in the supply chain, but we are based in 5 principles. We are collaborative, that is, we are open to collaborate with different ERPs, different ecosystems, different stakeholders, different systems. We are collaborative in the core, okay? We are global. We can handle shipments from every part of the world. We are interoperable in between systems. For example, if the customer has an ERP, we can interoperate via an API, for example, with the actual systems that our customer has. We are agnostic, and this is in terms of blockchain. We do not decide what kind of blockchain the customer is going to be used. They can use a private blockchain, a permissioned blockchain, or a public blockchain. The customer will decide. And we will be interoperable in between the blockchains that they decide to use. And we are open because we can share data with people that are out of the platform. That is, I do not need all the stakeholders in the platform in order to work. We can share data with people that are not currently using eCustoms. And the main and the core is that we do not force nobody to work with nobody. That is, they can still working with the people, suppliers, transporter, freight forwarders, ocean companies, airlines, with their actual suppliers. We do not force nobody to change the processes that they are using. No? And why blockchain? Because this is a good question, I think, to make, because blockchain is not a technology for everything. Okay, I know that now blockchain is very cool to say, and you rocks if you tell that you are using blockchain. But I think that supply chain is a perfect use for this technology. And why? Because there are some supply chain pain points, like for example, traceability. And there is some blockchain capabilities that can solve this pain. For example, blockchain is immutable. About the security, blockchain can be used for the identity, no? The digital identity, or the scalability. Blockchain is decentralized, no? And the automation. Blockchain can make a smart contract to automate some processes. So I think blockchain is the perfect technology for some points on the supply chain, no? And then I'm going to show you some cases that I think is the relevant thing for this presentation, in order you to understand in which part of the chain we are using blockchain. In a first case, I'm going to explain how we make a smart contract in order to avoid a credit letter and to make a smart contract to automate the payment that we send to the customer. No? So I'm going to stop sharing and share again with that is over here. Some questions till now, or nothing by the moment?
Nothing at the moment. But
I think I will keep mine at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will share again. That is, do you see it right now?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So in 2019, we make our first proof of concept with this technology. In this case, we decided to make those this POC with a sea shipment. Okay, this is an import that was coming from India into Spain, and we put into the same point in the platform to the importer. That was a Spanish company called Fenfatal that is purchasing some goods from India. We talked with the Indian company, with the supplier that was ANY, who is going to we have all the details of the different roles. For example, in this case, Fenfatal and its details. In case of the Indian company, we have all the Indian company and also the account in which they want to receive the money, the REX number, in order to make some benefits from the tax and duties for our customer. And in these details, we put all the things that are put normally in a credit letter. That is the invoice value, the currency, the statistic code, the description of the goods, the country of origin, the Incoterm, and all those dates that are needed in a credit letter. For example, the latest shipment on board, or the estimated time of arrival, or the banking guarantee that expired. Okay. In this proof of concept was involved also the customs authorities, the bank, and also the freight forwarder. Okay, so this is the way we made the shipment. It was a sea shipment, a complete container. And also we have the way they are going to pay, 30 days from the invoice date. And this is the part in which we have used blockchain for the documentation. The platform has a different combination of technologies to synchronize all the participants in this shipment. No? So, for example, to give you an idea, people that makes the different documentation regarding the shipment can upload to the platform in a very easy way, as easy as to send a video by WhatsApp. The different documents. In this case, for example, I'm going to show you the transport document, okay? And the hash on blockchain that shows that this document was uploaded 727 days ago, and that this is access, the transaction hash, the fee, the gas price, every detail on this transaction is shown, even though it has been 2 years ago, this transaction, okay? So the different stakeholders around the shipment was uploaded, the different documentation that is needed for this shipment, okay? In the different days. For example, the invoice and the packing list were uploaded 28th of February in 1919. The document of transport document, the BL, was uploaded 50th of March. Then we have insurance. We have, for example, I think I can show you the different, let's see, because I think it's there. Here it is, the customs clearance document that shows when they make the custom clearance, the amount of duties, the amount of VAT, the different channel that in this case is the circuit that customs makes. And if you see, we have here this number that is the custom clearance number, and it's the same number we have on the platform, okay, here. So that the customs authorities has direct access if the customer wants to the different documents that are being uploaded in the platform, okay? So that when all the different points were successed, the smart contract runs and pays directly the supplier. In this case, the supplier can, through the platform, ask for a pre-financing of the goods. For example, you know that a credit letter not only is to give security to the importer in order to pay when the goods arrive, and with the both banks involved, but also for the supplier, they go to their bank with the credit letter and they can pre-finance this operation, okay? So in this case, what we did was the pre-finance the supplier with the Spanish bank. And we obtained two benefits with that. First of all, we avoid to have those banks with the savings on commissions that it occurs, and we skip all the documentation processes paper-based, and we put a smart contract in besides, okay? And also, and I think a very important part also of the platform is the compliance of this documentation. You know that in a credit letter, you have to review all the documents in order to see that if everything is okay and every data is fulfilled. So the same process was made in the platform so that the buyer, the supplier, the customs agent, and the bank gave their compliance to the different documentation and to the whole processes. And this is also hashed in blockchain so that all the process is completely traceable and completely immutable. And you can see that I'm checking 2 years before the shipment. Okay, so this is the first case in which we have used blockchain to skip a credit letter in the supply chain and to put a smart contract. Any question?
Still, I'm keeping mine. But if any of the audience has any questions, please feel free to ask anytime.
Okay, so can I interrupt you?
Of course.
Okay, you said that you apply actually blockchain just for keeping documentation. What do you mean by that? For example, do you have any file system or any IPFS system to keep documents and set up a blockchain system just to keep their references or links? Because blockchain systems naturally does not keep or cannot keep large amount of data. I mean, for example, more than 10 megabytes files, some things like that. So what was your way to solve this?
Yes, this is a very good question. Thank you for doing. We made a combination of different technologies. Blockchain do not support big documents, as you have said. So what we have is a combination of IPFS in which we keep the documents, and we only use blockchain to hash this document. So if, for instance, anybody changes this document, the hash will change, and we will see which was the one who has modified the document and has and which data has they modified. This is the version of 2 years ago of the platform. I'm going to show you an actual shipment, and you will see the evolution of the platform, because I think it's something that is it's important to see how we have evolved the platform to have different versions of the same document. Because for instance, you know that in supply chains, the documents are not fixed. For example, a packing list. You perhaps buy from a supplier 30 pallets, and at the end they have only manufactured 5. So you have a version of the packing list with the full order, and then you have the last version of the packing list with only the 5 pallets, okay? So to make the traceability of all those changes, we have developed a different versions of the same document that can be also stored in the system. So after that, you can see also what has happened during the shipment and how the documentation has been changed, okay? So for that reason, I have selected an air shipment with the actual version of the platform, and you will see the difference because, for instance, this was the first proof of concept. 2 years ago, we need to prove that this has sense, that blockchain has sense to be applied in the supply chain. And for that reason, we involve the customs authorities, the bank, the importer, the exporter, the freight forwarder, everybody was in, okay? But it's very difficult to have all the stakeholders at the same time in the same platform in supply chain, because everybody has his own system. We are very busy. We have different timetables into different countries. So it's very difficult to have everybody in. So what we have developed is usable if only one of the stakeholders are in the platform, because nowadays we are synchronizing and coordinating the shipments by email mainly, okay? So by being only one of the stakeholders in, we will have a better situation that we have now with emails, okay? Of course, it's ideal if everybody is in. The platform will be then perfect. But we need to make step by step the evolution of the supply chain world, okay? So I do not know if I have answered your question. I hope yes.
Yes, yes, thank you.
And I will now, another question, or I will go with the second shipment?
So that I can ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. And I don't know if that question will make sense, but you said when you click hash, you also see the gas price details there. I was wondering, how do you pay that? For example, when we use an Ethereum system, it's crazy expensive. So I was wondering, what system do you use that it makes it cost efficient? You are running a business here, so I assume costs are very important. So I wonder this detail. Thank you.
Yes. Again, a marvelous question. Okay, so what we have designed is in an agnostic system. I mean, the price of the gas is quite important, and many of the shipments do not allow this cost. Okay, but in the other hand, they will need blockchain because they can give this immutability and this traceability and these benefits that the blockchain has, okay? So what we have developed is a private blockchain, permissioned blockchain, the testnet of a permissioned blockchain, and a public blockchain, so that the customer can decide if they want to spend money on gas. Okay, if there is a company that is not so sure about if blockchain add value to their business, they can start being a node in a private blockchain and to see how it works without having the cost of this fluctuation of gas. Okay, perhaps another company has very clear that they want a public blockchain for auditories, for the vision of the company, for whatever, okay? Of course, we can give the services or uploading those documentation in the public blockchain. And the mechanisms of making, there are several opportunities here to unload a batch of documents and upload once the gas is cheaper. But our idea is to have the documents hashed in real time. That's why part of the platform is the synchronization of different stakeholders. So for example, if I upload a transport document or if I upload an invoice, the aim of the platform is to have in real time in order to skip those delays that finally cost money to the supply chain, okay? So of course, your question is a great question, and we have tried to solve this issue by having all the possibilities available for our customers.
Thank you very much, Christina. Great explanation. I think all these things are going to make more sense to me when I understand blockchain better. Thank you very much.
No. I'm going to share again because I want to have enough time at the end for more questions or whatever. I'm going to share, and let's see. I think I have made a mistake with the. Let's close some windows because if not, it's crazy. That is okay. So, do you see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes, okay. This is the platform right now. We have two different environments. We have a sandbox in order to make some tests and issues with the customers. And we have the production platform. This is the production platform. And we have the internal part of the company. Once a company make the onboarding in a custom, that is very easy. It can be done by yourself. Just by going through the website and make a sign-in, you can start using. And you have an internal part in which you can personalize the platform with the company logo and everything you want around your company, okay? You can send invitations inside your company to the different departments. For example, the warehouse, the export department, the import department, the administration department. You can invite your partners inside your company in order to see the different data that are in the platform, okay? We have a different language, English, Spanish, and so on, so you can select. And then we have developed what we name visibility matrix or record matrix. And in this matrix, people, that is the creator owner of the reference, can decide which kind of data do they want to share with the different roles. I mean, and I'm going to explain this a little bit more. For example, if you are an importer and you invite your supplier in order to upload the invoice or whatever, perhaps you do not want them to see the destination of the goods because the supplier do not need to know your customer, okay? So you can decide that the destination is not available for the supplier, okay? Just by not clicking that. So you can decide which kind of actions the different roles can make. For example, only to see and modify, and to invite to third parties, okay? We have several roles in the platform: supplier, buyer, consignee, origin forwarder, destination forwarder, notify, authorities, reception, external service, inspection service, different kinds of roles, okay? And you can personalize everything. And the same with the different documents, okay? You have invoice, package list, transport documents, insurance, quality certificate, credit letter, whatever, okay? And you can decide if the different roles can only view this document and also can upload this document, or if you do not need them to neither to view nor to upload, okay? So the personalization of the platform is completely, okay? Then going to the record. Let's go.
Antonio Cadenas, do you know him? I'm going to admit.
Yes.
All right, okay.
So for example, in order to show you a complete shipment, in this case, I have decided to show you another transport mode shipment. This is an air shipment. So you see that the platform has changed a little bit. You still keep the customs clearance number and you have the different roles in those slashes, okay? But we have developed two different concepts here. We have developed the concept of of inviting an external people that are not in the platform, only by sending an email, what we have called a magic link. For example, if you want to invite to your shipment to your supplier, and your supplier is not user of eCustoms, you can invite them only by putting the email, and they will receive a magic link in which they can go to the record and make only the things you have allowed them to do, okay? And this is something that we have developed new in the platform. Also, for example, to show you different things, in deal details, you can add different invoice, different statistic code inside the same shipment. And you can, in transport, for example, make the tracking of the shipment. You have the estimated time of delivery, the latest shipment on board, and the estimated time of arrival, so that the creator of the shipment has the traceability of the shipment without asking nobody where is their shipment in right now, okay? We can follow any kind of transport, air, sea, road, railway, and you will have all the internal parts of the shipment, not only origin and destination. You can have different medium points in the middle, no? And also in freight forwarders and in the other roles, we have developed a concept of social network of the shipment. The objective of that is to skip all the emails that we share in between each other in order to make the synchronization of this shipment. Instead, you can open a conversation inside the platform that is also load in the experience, so that if you 1 year before need to review what had happened in the shipment, you will also have all the messages that you interchange with the different participants on the shipment, and will be much more easy to follow your operation. Or for example, if for instance for auditory or for something, do you need to find out what happened in a shipment, you can have directly in this social network of the shipment that we have developed, okay? And regarding the documents, we have also the possibility of downloading the document like it is, and also the links to the different hashes to check wherever, okay? And also you can upload not only documents, you can upload, for instance, photos, like I'm going to show you here. In this case, this is a shipment that we made during the COVID situation. You know that in the middle of the COVID, it was very, very complicated to find masks. So this is an ONG that managed to have money to buy abroad and masks. And for example, the supplier upload not only the photos, but also the certificates that allow that this mask fulfill with all the regulations in order to make custom clearance without no problem, okay? And in this case, we also add the insurance. I mean, we have some agreements with insurance companies so that if the customer I upload different photos for the packages, the packaging, for the way they deliver to the airline, for example, or the way they upload in the container, they make a discount in the amount of the insurance for this transparency for the insurance company. And in this case, for example, we also track the custom clearance that is here. And also we track the delivery notes, single delivery notes that they handle, so that the final customer has in the same point all the things regarding this shipment. We have some alarms and some alerts inside the platform that can be configured by the customer. For example, if there is a shipment that needs to arrive next Monday, and for instance, on Monday hasn't arrived, the platform can let you know that this is a delay in that shipment. No? And also we have developed different kinds of invitations to different authorities, to external service, like for example, Bureau Veritas to review the quality of the goods, inspection services, or just a watcher in order to review the different documents that has been uploaded on the platform. And inside the shipment, because you can decide the record visibility at a company level, but of course, inside a shipment, you perhaps need to change a little bit those permissions that you have as a standard company. So you can change inside the shipment those permissions in order to fulfill the necessity and that you have in this shipment, okay? So we have changed a little bit the platform in order to allow to be more flexible, okay? And also, of course, again, we have here the custom clearance number so that the customs authorities can have access direct to the documents that has been uploaded and the hash in order to see that it hasn't been modified. And another thing that I told you before is that you can upload different versions of the same document. If you see here, you have version 1 of one, but of course you can upload another invoice, for example, and you will keep the different versions and the different hash of the different versions in the platform. So you will have a complete repository of all the conversations that has been around the shipment. You will have all the versions that has been during all the documents and all the supply chain. And you will have the possibility of deciding which data to share and which document to share with the different roles by using these technologies. Another things that can be done with blockchain, for example, we can make a zero proof of knowledge based in blockchain. And this will be very, very helpful for make a token for the shipment to change the ownership of the shipment. We can make amazing things with blockchain. And I think that we have a huge amount of things also to develop. But this is a first step to use blockchain to make a real case for blockchain, because sometimes when you talk about blockchain, people thinks that this is a PowerPoint, and no, supply chain is a special case for blockchain, and I think blockchain is the suitable technology for this market, because we can automate things using blockchain, we can make traceability using blockchain, we can make immutability, and we can make it in an easy way. Okay, so this is the second user case. Any question?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Again, with some questions.
Yes. So, does anybody have additional questions, or anybody have questions so far?
Actually, my question is about it, kind of a little bit business side. What was the reaction of your customers? Have they adopted easily this Billy-based, let's say, service?
This is a good question, again, because we have different user persona for the platform. You know, we can help freight forwarders to digitalize and to be more transparent. We can help the authorities to have a full visibility of all the documents regarding supply chain. We can also help importers and exporters to have a standard process for all those shipments that they have using different supplier, different user transport mode or whatever. So we have started to be targeting in freight forwarders last year. Why? Because I'm vice-president of Freight Forwarder Association in Spain, and I'm also coordinating several working groups for new technologies and digitalization inside Spain. And I think it was the target, okay? But what happens? The freight forwarders is a very, very traditional market that needs many educational to accept these disrupting technologies, because they hear blockchain and they say, oh, it's too much complicated for me, okay? Mm-hmm. So we have been taking care about making webinars, explaining the technology well, and they are accepting little by little, but it's not easy. It's a long lifetime decision, but they are using step by step. But this year, we have changed a little bit our user persona focus. We have been focusing in importers and exporters with a much more little deciding cycle. We have many requests for importers and exporters in order to use this technology. I have to say that we are in conversations with the HMRC, that is the customs from United Kingdom. So as you know, Brexit has started the 1st of January, and we can help to stream up the flow for custom clearance to this user persona. So we have started going directly to importers and exporters, but without losing the focus of being agnostic, open, and interoperable. I mean, if an importer and exporter is using the platform, the forwarder can also be user of the platform. The authorities can see the documents of the platform. We synchronize everybody without telling nobody to change their actual suppliers, okay? And another thing that we have seen that it's important for the customer is that we do not force nobody to change their systems. I mean, we can be as transparent as they want. For example, if they use an API to connect directly our systems and their systems, perfect. We do not have no problem, okay? We have a standard API, an API REST in order to not only upload data, but also download data that some other of the stakeholders has uploaded to the platform, okay? So we can be automated. Okay, but also if there is somebody that do not want to make this develop, they can use our interface by internet. By only having internet, you have direct access to the platform. Okay, so we are somehow giving all the opportunities to everybody without not being thinking to do it in a straight way, in order to help our customers to use the solution.
Yeah.
And another thing that I have to say about business model is that as this can be a fixed cost, because you can choose not to upload and to use a public blockchain. You can decide to be a node of a private blockchain without having an extra cost. This is something that has helped us so much because the customer knows the final cost of using our solution.
Meral, I think you're going to ask something because you turned on your camera and you're not muted right now.
Christina, thank you very much for this presentation. Really, it seems fantastic. I am a banker. I'm not working in a bank now, but I have a lot of knowledge about banking side of the issue. I wonder that do you have any Spanish bank that is cooperate with you? This is the first question of the issue. The other one is, do you have any collaboration or contact with WeTrade or Marco Polo or Contour? Because these are really try to solve the side of the trade finance issue. and they have a lot of collaborations with logistics sector. I see, as far as I see, at least. This is my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Christina, she's been quite modest actually, because she was the head of the team who accomplished the first blockchain trade finance transaction in Turkey, and she was the initiator, she was the persuader, and so she's quite expert here. And thank you for joining us tonight, Meral, also.
Thank you, Ebru.
Thank you, Meral, for your question. Of course, we have some agreements with different banks. Not only in Spain, we have been in Hong Kong, we have presented the platform to JP Morgan with Santander in Hong Kong. We are involved in an initiative that is pushed by Spanish government and ICEX in order to know another ecosystems. And in those years, we make this proof of concept. Of course, we have to fulfill UCP 600, the regulation for the credit letters, and it was important to fulfill in order to make a good operation, because it was involved the customs, everybody. Okay, so we sync a contract with a Spanish bank in order to make it. And we fulfill all the regulation. Regarding the other platforms like WeTrade, that is powered by Banco Santander or Marco Polo, they are taking care about one part of the chain. I mean, for example, the financial part, okay? Our aim is not to take care only in a part. Our aim is to make a solution for the end-to-end. And of course, we are not pushing everybody to work with one bank. For example, to make an example with Santander through WeTrade, we are planning a marketplace in order to be open. If a customer wants to make the finance of a purchase that they have made in the States or whatever, why not? They can use the data that we have in the platform to ask for several options about financing, okay? Mm-hmm. So our idea is to make a marketplace based in blockchain to give several solutions, not only finance, insurance, IoT things, customs, marketplace for freight, whatever, okay? Our aim is to be a standard, and that's why we have presented the platform to United Nations last year, in order to synchronize in an open way, in an agnostic way, all the people that is working in global trade. Okay, so this is the idea.
On the other hand, we have a lot of discussion in Turkey about the technology. Which technology is the best? Corda, as you know, private blockchain technology, or Ethereum is very well in smart contracts. So kind of competition exists in the world now, and everybody try to find their partners in this competition. So I'm really wondering about your agnostic way of thinking, because it is not too easy, as far as I know, that interoperability, because still ICC and World Trade Organization discussing about this issue. So can you please explain this way of thinking?
Yes.
This was my also question. I mean, how interoperability works in your platform, and how do you make the systems talk with each other?
Right now, really, this is a challenge, and we have tried to solve by having the possibility of using different blockchain with the final decision of our customers, okay? So, of course, we have to develop several things to be interoperable with the different things. The idea is my vision of the future of supply chains is different platforms being interoperable in between each other. Because, for example, for one shipment, you cannot afford a gas. And for other transactions, for whatever, for the contract details or for whatever, perhaps you have to use a public blockchain. And this is do not matters that you have to make all the transactions in a public or all the transaction in a testnet or all in a private. So our CTO, that is a machine of blockchain, that is Marcos, has decided to make a protocol to be interoperable. And this is how our customer can decide if they use a private, public, or permissioned. I'm also involved in a working group in Brussels in order to discuss how many changes are they going to happen to be interoperable in between all the platforms that are in the different countries, because you know that different countries has different solutions and different approach to this problem and different solutions also. We are now focusing in being as open as possible, being as agnostic as possible, and being as independent as possible. This is not easy because we are a startup. We have made a fundraising for being agnostic, because we do not have to sign an agreement with a special stakeholder, you know, because we need to be neutral. And this is something difficult. But
on the other hand, the other problem in our site, we have paper. At the paper, we have a lot of information or data. But the paper's data should be same with the platform's data. Indeed, we don't want to use papers at the last. How do you solve this problem? Because when the paper's data is not equal to platform's data, it is a legally problem for us, for bankers, for you.
Yeah, of course.
The problem is problems coming to electronic bid of ladings. Maybe in this point, maybe you can explain us your government's aspects or way of thinking or preparations about the issue.
Meral, an incredible question. This could be another webinar because it's crazy. But I must say that we have, you know, that for 2024, the European Union has said that all the papers need to be electronic in logistics. No, so we have to keep this in mind. But we are in 2021. Okay, so there is also 3 years in which we need to maintain papers. Okay, which approach have we made? We have a different combination of technologies. One of them is artificial intelligence. Okay, and why? Because we use artificial intelligence to extract data from unextracted documents. Okay, for example, if you have a PDF and you have a BL in PDF, we can extract the data from the BL and can upload to the platform and can have the paper, the hash in blockchain, and the extracted data using artificial intelligence. But it is not legal right now. If you need the original document, you will need the original document. So we are involved in an initiative that is is running FIATA, that is the Freight Forwarder Association globally, worldwide, in which they are testing different solutions for the EBL. We are also working with the Spanish government for the ECMR, the electronic document for the road transport. And we are having different working groups for the approaching of electronic document, okay? Which is the approach of e-customs. That is, I think this is something interesting, I guess, okay? We could be interoperable. I mean, there will be several platforms making electronic documents. C documents, R documents, for freight, road document, associations making electronic documents, different countries making electronic documents. So we need to be interoperable. Right now, there is a platform in Singapore that is Trade Trust.
Oh, yeah.
That is the one who is making an approach for making the legal part of this issue, okay? You know that Singapore and Europe has a commerce agreement in which all the things that are legal in Singapore will be in the European Union. So we are making an approach with this platform in order to be interoperable, to take these documents in our platform, go through Trade Trust, make the full legal traceability there, also by using blockchain, and it's supported by the government, and then go back to our platform with this synchronization of the two. So our idea is to be interoperable with the different solutions, because still the customer will have the last word in that part. Okay? But I fully agree with you that is an issue, and that we need to work hard to make it legally possible. You know, blockchain is not is not for everything, as I start telling in my presentation. But somehow we have the chance right now, all the people that we are here in the webinar that are thinking about this issue, to work to make it possible, because the paper is a very inefficient process.
Yeah, no. Paper is impossible, really, after COVID.
For example, there is another kind of documents that is, for example, sanitary documents for perishables. That is something very common. That during the COVID, there was no planes, no passengers flew, so it's very impossible to send this documentation by courier. We can send the goods, but we cannot send the papers, and it was crazy. So I think we have a passionate time ahead in order to be involved in that issues.
Yes, you're right. Maybe I should read a lot or more about this European Union documents. It will be very good if you can send us the main documents.
Maybe it could be better for us to get some references from you in order to review the documents, which we can really just go through. Menekşe, I think you have a question? Or?
I have a question, but I think some more people have questions, because I'm seeing, Olcay maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, Olcay.
Mine is not a question, but I just wanted to confirm that what I understand is right. In fact, Christina, first of all, thanks for your presentation. It was really great. As I understand, you don't keep any documents on the blockchain, but only the hashes of the documents. So the documents can be reached through your web application maybe. And when the third parties come to your web application, they can check the document, but they can also check the originality of that document by comparing the hash of that document, which is recorded on the blockchain. And so you record the hash of the document to any blockchain according to your customer preference. What I understand is this, and I just wanted to confirm if it's right or not.
It's slightly like this, but we have, as I said, a combination of different technologies. The way we handle the documents is according to the customer needs. It can be in the cloud, it can be on premise, but the hash is in the blockchain. And also we have IPFS, that is technology to keep care about the documentation, but somehow is as you have explained.
Okay, thanks.
My question is not technical, actually, again, about business side. Let's say, I wonder, have you received any support from EU or Spanish government, or have you got any subsidy? Or just purely private funded?
I mean, I have the luck that I have my own traditional company, and all start from a private funding of the co-founders. We have developed the platform 2 years under the radar. We do not want nobody to know what we have in mind. So we have developed 2 years with our own funds. After that, we have our first business angel 1 year and a half ago, more or less. And then after that, we have make the Venture City program that help us somehow with the product. And we just are very, very close to close our seed round. That is right now, in 2 weeks' time, I think we will close. And that's why we are here agnostic, because I think it's important to be neutral. And we have obtained this neutrality by using our own funds to develop.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, because it was so inspiring and so, for me and in my part, so informative to have that kind of information and that kind of processes. What I understood on my part, I'm not a technical person, but I just figured it out that you had kept it as simple as possible in order to make the interoperability and compatibility with other ERP systems or with the other ongoing operational systems of the companies. So maybe we should also take it like this. I mean, just keep it as simple, stupid, they say, like, you know.
I think that a strong thing and that is that we need to change our mind. We are so used to make silos, so used to follow big technological companies making things that are very difficult to implement in small companies. In Spain, for example, to give you a data, the 87% of the companies are small companies. So they do not afford this huge amount of money of purchasing big licenses for making things. So we need to be collaborative. And I think in that point, the girls have a different mindset. We have a different mindset. We do not mind to collaborate with our competitors. And I think this is something very powerful. And this is something very, very disruptive also in the supply chain, that is a very traditional market. So I think that we have the chance to change things and to be collaborative and interoperable in between platforms. That I think is the future.
Right. This is also what I think. Okay, if there are no any additional questions, I think it's time to say goodbye.
But we will keep in touch.
Yeah, we should.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for being here at this time, because I know that it's your 10 past 10 in Istanbul. So thank you very much. I will share the deck and all my details. You can contact me by LinkedIn. And thank you very much for assisting to my webinar.
Thank you so much. And we are going to publish it on our YouTube channel, and we will just share with anyone who wants the documents, I mean, the deck and all the other presentation from us. Okay, thank you, everybody. Hope to see you in our next webinar, and good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Christina. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, and Menes for this, and keep in touch.
Yeah, sure. I have some questions. I will write you from LinkedIn.
Okay,
thank you.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Menekşe, sen cloud'a mı record ettin, computer'a mı aldın?
Kuzu computer yaptım. Hatta şu an durduruyorum.